They want to kill us. If they catch us, they're gonna kill us.
Watching on in horror as outside their window an angry crowd tried to turn over a police van. This is the moment Hamid and Abdullah, not their real names, thought they were going to die when the place they call home was attacked by an angry crowd who tried to set it on fire.
There is no humanity, if you understand what I mean. It's like, you know, zombie. They burn, they want to kill, they make like that.
They make gestures.
Yeah, just like that, always. And we're gonna catch you. They make, we don't catch you. We don't catch you today, we're gonna catch you tomorrow. If we don't catch you tomorrow, we're gonna catch you after 1 week. And they was thinking we're gonna die. I swear, I don't lie.
They're both here seeking asylum and showed me footage that they filmed when their hotel in Rotherham was attacked by right-wing rioters who then turned on the police. They've been moved to a new hotel. We won't reveal where it is or their identity for their own safety. Now you've been moved to a different hotel. What are you hoping for now?
We need to, they leave us alone. That's it. We need to live like everybody in this world.
Ladies and gents, if you find anything you don't think you should be picking up, give us a shout.
Today, a community clean-up. Volunteers coming together to say this is the image of the real Rotherham. 240 people seeking asylum had been housed here. They've all been moved on now. How have some of the most vulnerable come to be the target of this violent unrest? And, crucially, what can be done to stop it? After an emergency COBRA meeting, the Prime Minister announced a standing army of specialist officers to tackle the unrest, although he didn't clarify exactly what this means.
Whatever the apparent motivation, this is not protest, it is pure violence, and we will not tolerate attacks on mosques or our Muslim communities. So the full force of the law will be visited on all those who are identified as having taken part in these activities.
In Tamworth, petrol bombs were thrown and the police attacked by people chanting racist slogans. One officer suffered a broken arm. The crowd then set fire to this hotel, as inside asylum seekers and the staff feared for their lives. The hotel had previously been identified by the local MP, who said in a Commons debate, people want their hotel back. Today, Sarah Edwards said in a letter she condemned the violence. They're just fixing up the windows and assessing the damage here. Many have been left wondering not if there will be another attack, but where. After a weekend in which violent disorder has swept across the country, there are many wider questions about racism and Islamophobia, about the power of social media, but also the responsibility of politicians, some of whom have been accused of using inflammatory language, which is then co-opted by extremists.
So these cameras provide reassurance for the sort of the congregation, and they're sort of at the front and back end of the entrance.
So these security cameras. At her mosque in Birmingham, Hamda Mohammed shows me the security measures they have in place. Rumours have been circulating on social media channels that far-right groups are heading to this city.
It's very much rumours at the moment, but it feels like a very, very real to us as a community here, because we have to sort of really make ourselves less panicked.
Hamda says many black and Asian communities have been left fearful, but also angry at those who question their right to call themselves British. She feels there needs to be a wider debate about the causes of the violence.
To be sort of told you are not British and you do not belong here is sort of like, then where do I belong? I clearly can't go somewhere else and I clearly don't belong here.
And that must make you feel horrible when your identity is being questioned as a British person.
I think the wider issue is that scapegoating of Muslims, of migrants, of people of colour that we've seen decades and time again in the news, where migrants are referred to as illegal immigrants, or far-right thugs are sort of classed as just protesters, rather than what they really are, which is racist, Islamophobic riots.
6 days since the unrest began, there have been nearly 400 arrests across England. The suspects have started to appear in court. The Prime Minister insists they will feel the full force of the law for their actions. But addressing the reasons behind their actions and stopping it spreading will be much harder.
Well, right now, Darshna is in Alum Rock in Birmingham, where there have been rumours online since this morning of another far-right gathering. Darshna, what's happening there now?
All day, rumours have been circulating that far-right groups will be coming here next to this community. In the distance, you might be able to hear police cars going by. There are groups of young men. Some say they are on the way to a roundabout nearby where around 200 or so have gathered. They said to me that they are from this community. Some of them are from the local mosques. They say that they are ready to defend their community. And when I asked them what this would mean, they said they don't want any trouble, but they will meet force with force. Those are the words that some young men used. Tensions are very high here. We've spoken to immigration advice centres, to solicitors' offices, whose addresses have been circulated on some right-wing groups. They are very concerned about what could happen next. And this is why people are fearful. They have heard the Prime Minister's words, but they wonder, is he really going to be able to stop whatever happens next? And today, another reminder of the real-life consequences. The Royal College of GPs have said that some of their members, healthcare workers, have been abused, particularly those from minority ethnic backgrounds. And they say this is the real-life consequences of the disorder and the atmosphere that has been created on our streets.
Darshna Soni there, thank you. And apologies if you heard any bad language there. As we can see, it is live. And as we've been hearing in South Yorkshire, not far from here, police have condemned what they've called a disgusting display of thuggery following the disorder at that Rotherham hotel housing asylum seekers last night. At least 12 police officers were injured by a group estimated to number more than 700 people. Local MP and Defence Secretary John Healey said there will be a reckoning for those involved. Amelia Jen was there last night in Rotherham.
This quiet suburb 10 miles away from Rotherham last night became the scene of a pitched battle after a crowd who'd surrounded a hotel housing asylum seekers set it alight. The police have managed to move a crowd of around 100 to 200 down this end of the road, but they're still throwing glass bottles, they're still throwing logs, and actually 2 boys have just started a fire over there. By the time police had dispersed the riot, it was 5 a.m. and 12 South Yorkshire police officers had been injured with rocks, fences and other missiles.
It began yesterday around 11:30 a.m. when a group of 250 arrived in the Manvers area of Wather-upon-Dearne. A further group of around 500 people arrived shortly after, who we believe held far-right and anti-immigration views. It was ultimately a disgusting display of thuggery, continuing well into the evening.
The hotel's windows were smashed and a wheelie bin set alight before being pushed into a doorway. Police describing a concerted effort not just to damage the hotel, but to inflict serious harm on those inside.
I've come down from Leeds this morning. This is where I'm from, but I live in Leeds now. But I was just crying my eyes out yesterday watching it. It's awful. Just thinking about the people inside, like, that is not a way to treat a human.
It turned from peaceful into possibly some of the most sickening parts of society that exists now in the UK. Where's the tolerance gone? Where's the understanding? Where's the acceptance that actually where's the acceptance that some of this is a historic failure of government to actually process cases as well, so they're not sitting in hotels for all this time?
I spoke to one man here last year, and he'd already been rehomed in another part of the country. I won't name the place, and he'd been so badly beaten up there it had left him with a permanent disability. So he'd been moved here and he was still waiting for his claim to be processed.
Liz's friend works inside the hotel and she's done voluntary work here too.
They'd had some contact by WhatsApp and told me that they'd been moved into the stairwells, which had been locked for safety. And one of the lads had texted later in the evening and said, "Oh, don't worry, we've got apples and water."
This morning, Defence Secretary and local MP John Healey visited the site, having spent all night with the police. He was stopped this morning by someone who lives nearby, who repeated unsubstantiated claims about inequality in policing that have been circulating online.
I'm also hearing from a good source that the police have